I mean, you'll definitely see Tyler Croft. You'll definitely see, I mean, Levi Samuel will do a good job. Like, they'll post scores. You might take a peek at it. At the end of the day, it doesn't, I mean, one game affects us. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to take care of business, and that's all we're going to be focused on is getting this win for 100% securing the 2 seed. And then if something happens and we can secure 1, that's just a bonus on top of it. All we really care about is securing this 2 seed.
J.J. Watt's last game as a pro. Chip him, hit him, hey, J.J., hey, congratulations on a great career.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, it's his last game. You know, he's going to do everything he can to make a huge impact in that game, which he does week in and week out. He's done it for 12 years at a very high level. JJ's a fantastic football player. I mean, he was literally the most unstoppable person on defense for 5 years in a row. Was 3-time defensive NFL MVP. He's an absolute monster. So we're going to do everything we can to give him a nice send-off and try to keep him off the stat sheet as best we can.
What is it that he does? I mean, Nick Bosa talked about how he can even take what J.J. Watt does and let it into his own game. What does he see?
He is. I mean, oh, wow. You just go watch his tape. I remember we got to practice the Houston Texans my second year in the league, and you got to see him firsthand. And he sabotaged almost every single play he was in on. He plays outside the scheme, which is really bad for some teams when players do that. But he was so good at it that he can completely leave his gap, go back 2 gaps, and still get back front side and make a tackle. And there's not a lot of guys that can do that, especially when he's on the interior doing that stuff. He's violent, he's fast, he's explosive, and he's just so strong. And you can see him, like, he can take on a double team, he can shuck 2 guys, make a play in the backfield. He's got, I mean, I remember, there was a year he had a ton of sacks. He had 3 touchdowns on offense, he had 2 touchdowns on defense. Like, he's an absolutely dominant player, and he has been as long as he's been in the league.
George, can you talk about the mood this week, it being the last regular season game?
It might be the last regular season game, but it's, you know, we've secured our spot in the playoffs, so we're treating this like, you know, any other week. Going to work now. We said, like, hey, it's our last regular season Thursday and our last big practice before we get into the playoffs. But you know, guys have kept their heads down. Guys have been working all week. We had a great practice today offensively. Guys were flying around. Purdy's throwing dimes. So we're definitely clicking right now, and we're just looking forward to Sunday.
As someone who loves football, how cool has it been?
You or me?
You.
I do love football.
Yeah. How cool has it been for the past 3 seasons to have a front row seat to Trent Williams and Nick Bosa on the same team, competing, collaborating, and seeing them in the same locker room?
I mean, you have Trent Williams, who's a walking Hall of Famer, Nick Bosa, who's basically defensive NFL MVP, and he's been fantastic since we drafted him as a rookie. So seeing them compete since 2020, it's awesome. You see 2 guys really at the top of their game, and Nick's only getting better, and Trent still is only getting better. But seeing them compete every single day, it's awesome. I remember in 2020, we signed Jordan Reed, tight end from the Washington football team Commanders, and like he said, he goes, I've never seen Trent Williams lose a one-on-one. And I know Nick won a couple, you know, that year when they first started, but he had said he'd never seen him in the, however, 8 years they played together at Washington. And so seeing Nick, you know, get a win or 2, it's just like, okay, that's pretty good. And then he's only gotten better. And I know that whenever Nick and Trent go against each other, Trent, it turns it up a little bit. It turns into a different notch. You know, that's a game day for him. And so seeing that competition is always amazing.
They make it a point to talk after every game, that they like check in with each other. Do you ever drop in on some of those conversations?
Not between them. I like to give them their space because they're both football minds. You know, I wish you could sit down and talk to Trent Williams about football. Like, we fly on the plane, Trent Williams sits right next to me, and I always like just to lean over and listen to how he talks about his approach to how he blocks guys, the amount of tape he watches on every single defensive end that he's going to go against. I mean, he just watches hundreds of cut-ups of every rush they've had in the last several years, and just, all right, well, I know that's his main move. Well, I know this is his counter move. Well, I'm just going to do this, and that will get rid of his one route move, and it will also get rid of his counter move. And then most guys don't have anything plus that besides a guy like Nick Bosa, you know, your elite pass rushers. But Trent does such a good job of his research, his study, and just listening to him talk football. It's like, that's almost more fluent to him than English.
Your response to the NFL news of the day, tomorrow the Bills, not only opens his eyes, writes down to doctors who won the game, and then they go, no, you won. You won the game of life.
I mean, it's incredible. I know the whole NFL was kind of at a standstill. I mean, everybody was when it first happened Monday night. It's just a wild thing to see. You know, I got friends on the Bengals, I got friends on the Bills, and just talking to them about what it was like on the field. You never really experienced that before. I've had, I remember my rookie year, we had an ambulance on the field in a camp practice, I think it was, and that kind of shook me. And then we had Trent Cannon, but like they were both moving and awake. There was no, potential loss of life, and for those guys to witness that, and then for that training staff and those professionals to perform CPR for that long and to save him, to give him a chance at life, and then for him to wake up. I think it's a weight lifted off all of our shoulders, because that's been one thing that we've all been thinking about is he okay? And it's really just puts football into perspective. Like, we play a sport that could happen on any snap. Like, that wasn't some crazy hit, some crazy fall. That was just a routine tackle, and for that to happen, it's scary, and that's just the sport we play. But I think everyone in this locker room is just much happier knowing that he's taken steps forward and he's doing all right.
You got Debo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell back in the mix this week.
That's fun.
Energy been?
Oh, fantastic. Elijah's wonderful to block for. He's a running back that he gets downhill so fast. He makes it really easy to block. And then Debo, he's an engine for us. He's a train on the tracks and no one wants to get in the way of. I'm excited to see him with the ball again, because every time he touches the ball and makes a guy miss or truck sticks a guy, he definitely sets the tone for our offense. And when he's doing stuff like that, and IU's playing at the level he is, all of our skill guys are playing at the level we are, it's just fun to bring him back in the mix.
Energy been higher at practice?
Oh yeah, we were feeling ourselves today.
George, this is a little bit random, but Ray McLeod's game day fits have become somewhat epic.
Fantastic.
And I was just wondering if you could talk about how they embody his personality.
He's a pretty quiet guy. I like when we first got him, you couldn't really hear him talk when he's just quiet. But then he started. I remember his Chicago Bears outfit was just totally different. And I was like, all right. But I'm all for guys, wearing how they're feeling or wearing whatever flair they want to wear that day. And I really appreciate that. It's definitely different. It's a different type of fashion. I think he's inspired other wide receivers to do the same. And our game day outfits have definitely been louder this year. But I love it. Ray's a hell of a football player. What he does at punt returner is absolutely insane. How he catches the ball with a guy 6 inches in front of his face, makes a miss, and still gets 10 yards. But then what he's been doing for us anyway, on the offense since Debo's been out, he's been fantastic. He's been dialed in. And be around a guy like that who also has the swagger that he has is really fun.
That's good.